السلام عليكم.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر.
الله.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
درجة الرفيعة العالية وبعث اللهم المقام المحمود الذي وعدته وصلى اللهم على محمد وعلى محمد. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستنصره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأصلي وأسلم على سيدنا وإمامنا وقدوتنا وحبيبنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهديه وسار على سنته إلى يوم الدين. وبعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كلام الله، وإن خير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم رسول الله، وإن شر الأمور محدثاتها، وإن كل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. أعاذنا الله وإياكم والمسلمين جميعا من النار. ومن هديه الشريف صلوات الله وسلامه عليه الحديث الذي يرويه سيدنا عمر بن الخطاب رضي الله تعالى عنه قال: سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول: إنما الأعمال بالنيات وإنما لكل امرئ ما نوى، فمن كانت هجرته إلى الله ورسوله فهجرته إلى الله ورسوله، ومن كانت هجرته لدنيا يصيبها أو امرأة ينكحها فهجرته إلى ما هاجر إليه. صلى الله تعالى عليك سيدي وإمامي وقائدي وقدوتي يا رسول الله، فقد أديت الرسالة وبلغت الأمانة ونصحت الأمة وجاهدت في الله حق جهاده حتى أتاك اليقين، فجزاك الله عنا خير ما جزى نبيا عن أمته. وبعد. Dear brothers and sisters, the topic of my khutbah today is niyyah, intentions, and its role in building a successful life. I've just related a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And the hadith, the beginning of the hadith, the source of the hadith, the occasion of the hadith is something that worth mentioning here. And it's a story of one of the Sahaba of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam in Mecca. His name is Damr ibn Jundub. And in some narration says it's Jundub bin Damr. Radiyallahu ta'ala. Jundub or Damra was one of the early Muslims in Mecca. And when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam commanded the Muslims to migrate, he was one of the people who couldn't do the migration to Medina because of old age and sickness. So he stayed behind in Mecca. And he stayed for a long time until a verse in the Quran, in Surah An-Nisa, was revealed unto Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And the Muslims in Mecca used to receive the revelation secretly. That verse is about people who, at the moment of death, when the angels of death comes upon them and ask them, how well have you been doing? And they say, we were oppressed. إِنَّا كُنَّا مُسْتَضْعَفِينَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. And the angels retort, أَلَمْ تَكُنْ أَرْضُ اللَّهِ وَاسِعَةً فَتُهَاجِرُونَ. Was there abundance of land created by Allah for you to migrate, to avoid oppression? And when he heard this ayah, he said, I have no excuse. I have the means to migrate. I have to. So he told his family, he said, it's time for me to go. He says, you cannot make it. He said, carry me. Put me on my bed. I have to go. So they had no choice. He said, I'm not sleeping another night in Mecca. So he decided to move on. Well, he moved on, but not for long. Because when he reached At-Tan'im, and I'm sure many of us who made Hajj know where At-Tan'im is. At-Tan'im is Masjid Aisha. It's on the outskirts of Mecca. It's the place where people in Mecca, when they want to make ihram, they go to At-Tan'im. That's their miqat. It's the miqat of people of Mecca. And many of us who wanted to renew our ihram in Mecca, we go to Masjid Aisha. And so he reached there, and he felt that the end is come. The end has come. He cannot make it anymore. So the last act of his life was he clapped his hand once, and he said, Oh Allah, هذه بيعتي لك. This is my allegiance to you. Clapped it again, and he said, this is my bay'ah to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This very simple act from an old person reaching the end of his life had great implications, because immediately Jibreel alayhi salam came onto Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to tell him the story that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken notice of the bay'ah of this person. And indeed, Quran was revealed. وَمَنْ يَخْرُجْ مِنْ بَيْتِهِ مُهَاجِرًا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ ثُمَّ يُدْرِكْهُ الْمَوْتُ فَقَدْ وَقَعَ أَجْرُهُ عَلَى اللَّهِ وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has accepted the bay'ah of this person. Has revealed the Quran that we recite in honor of this person. Not only that, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam gathered the companion and stood at the minbar and said, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ وَإِنَّمَا لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَا نَوَى. فمن كانت هجرته إلى الله ورسوله فهجرته إلى الله ورسوله، ومن كانت هجرته لدنيا يصيبها أو امرأة ينكحها فهجرته إلى الله. So dear brothers and sisters, this is a great hadith. And this occasion, so we say, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with this Sahabi who gave us this wonderful opportunity to learn about the role of intention. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept his deeds and accept ours and give us the wisdom, inshallah, to learn from this great hadith. So deeds are judged by intentions. And when we say judged, means it really depends on what we get. It's an opportunity. Imam Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, in commenting about this hadith, he related a statement by Imam Shafi'i which says that this hadith is a third of the deed. It's a third of the deed. Why? Some people said it's half of the deed. Why is that? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that the conditions for amal salih, accepted deed, are two. فمن كان يرجو لقاء ربه فليعمل عملا صالحا ولا يشرك بعبادة ربه أحدا. العمل الصالح has two conditions. It has to have the intention, it has to have the niyyah, and it has to have the following of the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. قال الفضيل بن عياض العمل الصالح أخلصه وأصوبه. The purest in intention and the most correct in following the sunnah of Rasulullah. For in Islam, we don't believe that the end justifies the means. No. The means have to be justified and the ends have to be justified. The end has to be for the sake of Allah and the means has to be in accordance with the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those are the two conditions that have to be met for a deed, no matter how simple or how big, to be accepted. So that's number one. Number two is intentions in our life is the key to success. It's the key to success. Why? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam يقول كلكم واقف بين يدي ربه من غير حاجب ولا ترجمان فينظر عن يمينه فلا يرى إلا النار وينظر عن شماله فلا يرى إلا النار وينظر وراءه فلا يرى إلا النار وينظر أمامه فلا يرى إلا عمله فاتقوا النار ولو بشق تمرة. Each one of you, and this is meant for all of us, it's not meant for other people. Each one of us is going to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with no curtains and no translators. Nothing. We'll look to our right and see hellfire. Look to our left and see hellfire. Look behind us, it's hellfire. We look ahead of us and we see our feet. So, the highest level of niyyah is that thing. What is it that is going to help us on that day? And that's our mission in life. A Muslim, by nature, by default, has to have a mission. He or she we cannot live our life without a mission. Because that mission is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to ask us, what is it that's going to save us? Fima kuntum, what did you do? And I say, oh Allah, this is what I have managed to accomplish. I hope you will accept it. So none of us should stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala empty-handed. وَمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو لِقَاءَ رَبِّهِ فَلْيَعْمَلْ عَمَلًا صَالِحًا. Iman is reflected in deeds. If you don't have these, then what good is your iman? فمن كان يرجو لقاء ربه فليعمل. You have to translate your iman. You have to translate your faith by positive influence, by being a model for what you believe in. If you don't, what good is your iman? Brothers and sisters, this being spread throughout the globe. And I I visited when I was in Japan. I was told about two Sahabis who died in China, Eastern China. Islam reached Southeast Asia in its first before the end of the half century. Those two Sahabis reached the Emperor of China with the message of Islam. Because the Muslims felt that this is their mission. It's their mission to spread the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not only that, but people saw in the Muslim so good examples. And people were saying, I want to be like that. And the overwhelming majority don't believe what you read in the books that Islam was spread by the sword. Not really. Not really. The Christians in Iraq were fighting with the Muslims to rid themselves of tyranny. The Christians in Egypt were fighting with the Muslims to rid themselves of Christian tyranny. Because Islam provided them the freedom, the space, the air to breathe, to rid themselves of oppression. So, the highest level of intention is your mission in life. And each one of us have to identify a mission. What is my mission? What is it that when I stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what is it that I'm going to present to my Lord? What is it that's going to say? That's the main thing. And that mission has to be translated into every step we take. Everything we do in life has to have a purpose. For we don't have the time. Time is the most precious commodity that we have. And we have to spend it wisely. So, number one, we have to purify our intentions for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number two, we have to have a mission in life. That's the deed that we're going to present to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And intentions can be in multiple levels. I do one act and intentions come before, during, and after. So I come to pray, and before I stand in prayer, I intend that this prayer is for the sake of Allah. So I pay full attention, and I think about what I'm doing during the prayer, and after prayer, I review my performance. How did I do my prayers? Did I benefit? And that's why immediately after prayers, when we say Assalamu alaikum, we say Astaghfirullah. This is a review. I reviewed my performance in the prayers, and I'm sorry it didn't come to the level I wanted. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's forgiveness. Okay? And when I say Astaghfirullah, I make the intention that next prayer will be better than this one. And next prayer will be better, and so on. So I am improving every step of the way. Every prayer in the day, I make improvement. Intentions also come in multiple levels. I come to pray for Jummuah, and I congratulate all of you for coming to Jummuah. This is a great thing. We're here in this place demonstrating in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His creation. And we said in this beautiful adhan that we reached Allahu Akbar. What a beautiful thing. We're sitting in the hadra of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is listening to us, listening to our dua, listening to our prayers. So we have to really collect our thoughts and take this matter seriously. So when I come to Jummuah, it's good that I should have multiple intentions. Number one is I'm fulfilling a command of Allah and His Messenger. They commanded me to pray, so I come to pray. So that's the fundamental, that's the foundation. In addition to that, I make the intention that in this Jum'ah, I'm going to learn something new. I'm going to listen to the khatib, and I'm going to learn something new. Okay? Because this is important. It's an important, I'm spending time, so I need to benefit from it. So I listen, I pay attention to the khatib, and I want to capture everything that the khatib said. In addition, maybe I should pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give the speaker, whoever is, the tawfiq, the success, to say something useful to me. Okay? So I listen and I pay attention. Yes, I have to get something. And if I don't, I miss the whole thing without getting it. It's okay to stand and go to the khatib after the salah. I say, I came here and I spent half an hour of my life. What do you want me to take? What's the takeaway from this khutbah? I have to be able to summarize this khutbah in at least one takeaway, if not more than that. And another intention I make is if I'm going to learn something in this khutbah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to implement it. And I'm going to implement it before the next khutbah. So whatever I hear, I make the intention of doing it. So now, I made the intention to come to fulfill the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger. Number two, I learn something new. Number three, I intend to implement it, apply it. And number four, I spread the good news. If, let's say, my friend missed the khutbah or prayed in another place, or if, let's say, my wife missed the khutbah, when I go home, I say, did you let me tell you what I hear today, what I learned today. I learned something new. Okay? A fifth thing that intention we can have in Jumu'ah is to learn about our community. To learn about our community, to do and act for our community. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed us with this community. So we need to improve it. And the least we can do is maybe I'm sitting and praying here. Maybe I should make dua to the people who pray next to me. Right? That's an act. I pray to the people who sit next to me. I pray to all of the people who are sitting here in the masjid. I pray for the prosperity and success of our community. Okay? Or I stand and maybe ask a couple of people, how are you doing? Ask them with an interest to learn. Okay? To learn about their affairs. And if there is something I can do, I should do that. Sayyidina Umar bin Abdul Aziz radiallahu Imam al-Hasan al-Basri describes Sayyidina Umar bin Aziz and his success, one of the most successful leaders in our history and in the history of humanity. He said, Umar لم يخطو خطوة إلا وله فيها نية. He didn't move a step, one step, without having the intention. What's in it for me? Why should I do that? It was related that one of the great leaders of recent times, he was the chairman of the Muslim World Conference. And they had a meeting in India. And so he went to India to discuss, his intention was to discuss the affairs of the Muslim Ummah. And in the program for the conference, they had a visit to Taj Mahal. So they came to him and said, well, today we're going to go visit Taj Mahal. He said, does that serve the purpose of helping Muslim Ummah? He said, no, this is part of the program. He said, no, I have no interest in that. I came here for the sole purpose of serving the Muslim Ummah. I intend to dedicate all of my time for that purpose. You go, enjoy your trip. I'm sticking to my mission. So, brothers and sisters, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam reminded us of the intention, even in the smallest acts. He said, حتى اللقمة يضعها في فم أهله له فيها أجر. Number one, how many of us have the habit of when we eat is to take a small piece and put it, as a wife, I put it in the mouth of my husband, or as a husband, I put it in the mouth of my wife, and have the intention to, I'm following the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I'm seeking ajr, I'm seeking the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even that small deed, you have reward. And if you purify your intention, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the wisdom of learning what's right, to give us the wisdom of implementing what we learn, to give us the wisdom to be among the most successful. ادعوا الله وأنتم موقنون من الإجابة. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to show us the path for success and to show our ummah the path for success. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to elevate the suffering of all people, Muslims and non-Muslims. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help every oppressed person on this earth. Damura ibn Jundub is a role model for every person who migrates to smell freedom, to breathe freedom. So we should celebrate that, and we should be advocates for every oppressed person, regardless. اللهم إنا نسألك موجبات رحمتك وعزائم مغفرتك. اللهم إنا نسألك من الخير كله عاجله وآجله ما علمنا منه وما لم نعلم وما أنت به أعلم. ربنا آمنا بما أنزلت واتبعنا الرسول فاكتبنا مع الشاهدين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا آمنا بما أنزلت واتبعنا الرسول فاكتبنا مع الشاهدين. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا وقلبا خاشعا وإيمانا صادقا وعملا متقبلا وشفاء لما في الأبدان. آمين. وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. قوموا إلى صلاتكم يرحمكم الله وأقيموا الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر.